There'll be a notice that comes out. You didn't miss a meeting. But thank you for attending.
I'm not Bill Drive. Is it Driveberg or Berg? I always get mixed up with Bill Drive. Berg. Oh, and Stephen R. is here.
Yes. Yes.
Will you take a pencil? Vice Mayor.
And I'm assuming this was changed, and we have a new one?
Well, the one that was in the package, they're both the same, pretty
Both the
much.
same.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been changed. This is new.
Good morning, everyone. The regular meeting for Thursday, May 16th with the Charlotte County Airport Authority will come to order. And invocation.
Father, we thank you for our great airport and those who make it great, including our leaders, staff, customers, and of course the citizens of Charlotte County who we all serve. We ask you to guide us in our discussion and decisions today to your glory and will. Ask you to keep us safe throughout our day. Thank you for your love and peace and grace and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. If you join us for the pledge.
Please join us. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Mr. Thornberry,
Here.
Mrs. Oliver,
Here.
Mr. Hackett,
Here.
Mr. Andrews,
Here.
Mr. Parrish,
Here.
Mr. Hanzik,
Here.
Mrs. Coppola.
Here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Could everyone make sure their mics are on? Okay, the monitors weren't good on a couple. Okay, thank you.
All right. Next item is citizens' input. Anyone wishing to address the board during this portion should state their name for the record. Each citizen is allowed up to 2 minutes to express their opinion on agenda items only.
Oh, we're doing good.
Okay, seeing no one stepping up, the next item is additions and deletions.
I have none.
Okay. Next is employee recognition.
Good morning, Board. I'd like to start out today by recognizing Mike Timms, and I had to write down all of his accomplishments because he has so many. So I like to do this off of my head, but had to write it all down. So starting out, prior to coming to the airport here, Mike was a Navy veteran. He then started as an FBO fueler, certified as an airside operations technician, then airport security coordinator. Since that time, he's achieved his AAA ACE security certification, his AAA ACE SMS, which is Safety Management Systems certification. He's received his bachelor's in business administration.
Wow.
And he is working now toward his CM with AAA. Most impressive, though, in 2022, Mike received the Al Ghulamli Award for Excellence in Airport Operations, and I want to read a little excerpt from that award that he received. In all aspects of his position, Mike Timms holds the highest levels of dedication and attention to safe and secure operations at PGD. That statement continues to be true today, and in his current role as Manager of Safety and Security, we all benefit from Mike's service and dedication to the airport and the PGD team. Thank you for your service to the country and your continued service here at PGD, and congratulations on 10 years.
And I want to point out Mike has the best hair.
He did get a haircut for today, in case anybody was wondering.
Coming from someone that should know.
Yeah, I wish I had that.
Wow, that's some accomplishments.
That's awesome.
Young age.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
Just wanted to first take the opportunity to thank you guys for giving us a chance to recognize our employees and their hard work that they do here. So I want to take today to recognize one of our airside operations technicians, Wesley Woolfolk. He recently attained his FAA non-federal weather observer certification. So what the certification does is, in the event of weather equipment outages for some very dated FAA ASOS equipment that we have out there, anytime there are issues or outages after air traffic control tower is closed for the day, this certification allows Wesley to manually take weather observations and provide that information to both pilots and other air traffic control facilities that will allow aircraft to, commercial service aircraft to come in and land safely at Punta Gorda. We recently had an incident where over the course of a week we would have had 26 aircraft that would have diverted if it weren't for our team having this certification. So I just wanted to thank Wesley for his hard work, flexibility. Wesley's only been with us here for about 2 months now, but he quickly hit the ground running and took on all of the responsibilities that this position entails. So please join me in congratulating Wesley Woolfolk.
Wow.
So we can't have Mike get an award without Josh getting an award. So Josh recently completed his ACE Safety Management System certification. The certification shows Josh's dedication to mastering the intricacies of SMS from its historical foundations to its application in modern aviation, and it's truly commendable that he received this certification. Your commitment to excellence in airport safety is not only a testament to your professionalism in your position as airside operations manager, but also a reflection of your dedication to ensuring the highest standards of safety within the aviation industry and making sure that those are maintained here at PGD. Your achievement is well deserved, and I have no doubt that you will continue to make significant contributions to the team here at PGD. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, next item is a consent agenda. Need a motion?
Move approval of the consent agenda?
I'll second.
First and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. No opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Next thing is Secretary Treasurer's report, starting with Mr. Parrish.
Sure. Go to our kind of year.
Excuse me, I skipped one. Turner's report.
No, Secretary
Oh,
Treasurer.
Secretary,
Number 9. We're on number 9.
yeah, number 9.
Go over the abbreviated version here. We continue to estimate our budgets fairly well. You can see our operating gain for the month was about $25,000 less than we had expected. That is still $630,000 gain. So we're still hitting our proposed numbers. Our expenses were slightly higher, but our revenues were up as well. And keep in mind, a lot of that has to do with fuel costs because those are estimated early in the year. So as long as the number at the bottom comes in close, then we're pretty happy. But we continue to hit our numbers as projected, and we're seeing some potential growth in the late year with Allegiant's new schedule that's now on sale. So we hope that next year will even be some more significant growth. Going on to our accounts receivables, we have 2, and one is paid almost in full, and then the other is Allegiant, and I've gotten involved in that. It's not a significant amount of money that's over 90 days, but it's enough that it's frustrating, and I'm talking to their CFO to get it resolved because it seems to be just a clerical issue because the way we bill them, it's paid out of a different department that's not used to billing, and so we're going to get it worked out. The balance sheet continues to be moving up, and we keep an eye on cash, we keep an eye on receivables, but then as we add projects to the balance sheet, our net position continues to go up. It's $193 million, of which of that about 43.5 is cash, with another $6 million in receivables. So all in all, we are in really good shape. We do have a lot of expenditures coming up, and today we'll approve a few. Keep in mind, most of that is paid for by this one, insurance and grants, but it's nice to have the cash in the bank that we can put these projects forward and get them moving now that we need them. But any questions specifically on that?
No questions. The next item is liaison reports, and before we go, I'd like to recognize from the county we have Commissioner Deutsch present in the audience, and from the city of Punta Gorda, Vice Mayor Bill Dryberg. So, starting with the Board of County Commissioners, I have nothing to report. Commissioner Deutsch, is there anything you might want to add?
Start the clock.
Good morning, welcome. We've got a lot of things going on. I'll make a personal confession to you that I haven't made to anyone yet, so you're going to hear it for the first time. I have made a decision as of 2 weeks ago not to ride my motorcycle again. Not because I didn't have a problem riding it, but when 400 pounds falls on you, you don't expect it. So I'm hobbling around a little bit. So I promised half a free world I'm going to stop riding the bike.
You wear your helmet, right?
What's that?
You will wear your helmet, correct?
No, of course not. No, the problem wasn't riding it. It's when I stopped. Just real quick.
I know what below the head can do. So.
Let me deal with the important thing. One of the more important days of the year, we grew up, most of us, particularly us two, knowing about Decoration Day on May 30th, which not too many years ago was changed to Memorial Day and made the last Monday in May. But this is a day where we honor and memorialize all of our servicemen and women who did not come home. And with that being said, we're having our county event at the replica of the Vietnam Wall in Punta Gorda, as we usually do. And I want to invite all of you to come. We're very pleased. We're having, it's a very nice inspirational program. It'll be no more than an hour. And we're honored to have Congressman Stubbe this year as our guest speaker. So I don't have to talk that much, so it's really great. So we just like to welcome you and say you're more than welcome to come, and that's at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, the 27th of the month. And have a great day. When you changed your meeting, I had a conflict and I couldn't come. I think that's the first one I've missed in several years, so I apologize for missing the April meeting. Have a good day.
Okay, next item is Punta Gorda City Council, Mr. Hanson.
Mr. Chairman, I've been in contact with the Vice Mayor back and forth, and there's nothing to report any interest unless something came up at the last City Council meeting, Bill, that would be of interest, well, not of interest, that might affect the airport. So.
Okay, next item is Metropolitan Planning Organization, Economic Development.
Mr. Chair, we're having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
I heard that.
Can you hear me now?
We can't hear it. It's not just me.
Is anybody else having a problem hearing me?
He said he was.
Can not hear me now.
What'd you say?
I guess it's, yeah. Okay, Metropolitan Planning Organization and Economic Development, Commissioner Thornberry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a briefing tomorrow with the director, a training on Saturday in Tampa for the NPO, and our meeting on Monday. So timing-wise, I was able to reach out to James and Dewan to basically report that James will be meeting with FDOT to discuss further the SIS funding related to the baggage claim project, as well as the, is it the rental car? Excuse me, terminal expansion in addition. And then Dwan had mentioned that there's going to be more frequent meetings between the MPO, FDOT, and the Airport Authority. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all.
You know, we've never had meetings with the MPO and FDOT, and they started one a few months ago, and they want to do it quarterly. It's a video call. It puts the district, the state, and the MPO all on the same page. And it was a good call. We talked about a lot of issues that have nothing to do with the airport itself, but with access to the airport. And those groups never get to talk. So it was good to get them all on the same phone, and we're already seeing some benefits from that. Mainly the left turn arrow on Piper that always makes me stop. So we're going to get that fixed. So, no, it's good that we're all talking, because those groups tend to silo themselves, and this is a way to get everybody on the same page.
Thank you. As far as the EDP, we have not had a general membership meeting since the last Airport Authority meeting. So more to come next month, hopefully, on that.
Okay.
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Next item is Community, Commissioner Coppola.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me? I've been busy, but I've been out of town. I had 2 family Irish weddings out of town, and they call them now destination weddings. So I've been busy attending my godchildren and nieces and nephews' weddings, and I have another one scheduled in Hawaii. Why are these kids all getting married thousands of miles away? I don't know. But that would be fun, because I've never been to Hawaii. But anyway, also had 2 wonderful friends pass away. So I've had kind of a funny mixed month. I will be attending the Charlotte High School graduation tonight, because I have a grandson graduating. And also been slowed down with an injured left foot. So if someone else would like to take over for a month or so. Otherwise, I can limp to the wedding and limp to the occasions. Anybody? Okay, that's my report. Kind of sad.
Okay, thank you very much. And State Legislation, Commissioner Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not have much to report. We're all just still waiting on the governor to sign the budget. Mr. Parrish, do you have anything?
I just report Chad and I will be in Tallahassee a week from Tuesday, and we're trying to schedule a meeting with the governor's office just to try and shore up that legislation. Our lobbyist has been active talking to them. We think we're in good shape, but the main reason for the trip up there is to meet with the DOT and talk to them about our current funding projects and going forward for other needs. So I'll let you know how that goes next month.
Okay, next item is Attorney's Report.
Mr. Chairman, I don't really have anything to report. I'm always happy to fill in for Darryl Carr, and glad to be here again. We're here to serve. Thank you.
Okay, next item is CEO's report, Mr. Parrish.
All right, go through the development update. Brett is getting some training in Chicago, so he can't be here. I'm sure he's listening online or watching online. Yeah, he is. Okay, good. Just go through everything. Building 97 replacement is the consultant selection is on the agenda today. Other projects that are in design, not a lot's changed. The GSE maintenance building is actually on the agenda today for selection of the contractor, as well as the 101 replacement. Master drainage plan is coming along. I met with the engineers last month, and we're making some decisions. We've kind of slowed it down. One of the reasons we pushed this to this year was a state law that was changing, but that has been slowed down. The legislature this year put another year onto that state law before it goes into effect. But the other projects, the North Side infrastructure development we're waiting on the funding for that, as well as the Perimeter Road Phase 2. That's some FAA funding. All right, next slide. So CTC, we should have the numbers back for that, and then we'll start working with them on lease documents, and then waiting on the state for that funding. We'll have to put some money into that, and then that'll be a long-term lease with the school board, which they can pay off early. Rental car facility is a insurance construction project, and that is on today's agenda. And taxiway C&D continue to work with the FAA on the final design and then going out to bid and getting everything done on that. It's become a fairly complex project because of some requirements of the FAA. And then the new ARF truck, we did get the bids back for that, and that's on today's agenda later on. Inline baggage maintenance operation, self-serve fuel. I think self-serve fuel is almost done. They poured a new pad and they've moved it back, and we're about to get everything buttoned up and the system's running. The fuel farm security improvements, we hope to start that project fairly soon. I think we have a pre-construction meeting next week, and 207 replacement is going forward now. Airfield lighting control, I think it's happening. We finally got all the parts in.
Yeah, commissioning is today, should be done next week.
Is that the reason our thing didn't work?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, if anyone drove by the airport 2 nights ago and it was really bright, it's because the switch over to pilot control lighting did not work. And we just had to put everything on full power for a whole evening. All right, next slide. That's pretty much it, unless you guys have any specific questions on the projects that are in your packet. Again, we're updating these monthly and sending them to you, so you have a lot of information. A lot of it is stuff that's just not terribly exciting unless you're an engineer, architect, or construction guy. Nothing?
Yeah, made me smile.
All right, marketing update, Ms. Miller.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
April was pretty busy. Thanks to y'all for participating in the taxiway G ribbon cutting. I'm sorry Ms. Coppola couldn't make it, but we missed you.
Thank you.
We got great coverage in Airport Improvement Magazine for our recent runway construction and airfield work, which is great because that's a national magazine. We appreciate that. We also had another honor flight in April, so we got great coverage on that and attention on Facebook and participation in that as well. The next honor flight will be October 15th. Ray LaRoche is your honor flight expert. If you have any questions, you can ask him. But we also had Curtis the Hawk out there dancing with people in the street, so that was fun. That was another Curtis the Hawk. It wasn't Ray. We also have a new partnership for the Flybrary with the Bookworm bookstore out of Inglewood. So that's a nice partnership. They're donating hundreds of books to us each month, which is fabulous. In addition to the Charlotte County Public Library System, that partnership as well. So check out the Flybrary if you're looking for some books, because they have lots there. But we always need donations too, so thanks for that partnership. And also, the last thing is we're just continuing to work on our advertising campaigns, Google AdWords nationwide, so people in other parts of the country can find us and learn more about Punta Gorda Airport and how to get to Southwest Florida. And today is exciting because we're having the inaugural flight for the Washington Dulles flight. So we're going to do a little departures photo op in the for the folks that are leaving Punta Gorda going to Washington Dulles. We're going to have Curtis the Hawk come do some photo ops with people and do some giveaways and take some photos.
Great.
So you'll see that in the news probably as well, because Allegiant sent out a news release this morning too.
What time is that going to be?
So that's, they're leaving the flight's at 2:44, so they'll be boarding at like 2. Any questions?
And Kaylee and I are on that flight
Yes, Sunday.
Sunday to head to Washington for our speed dating with the airlines.
Speed, what?
Speed dating. Get 20 minutes to pitch your airport.
Oh,
And we have about 7 meetings set up, and we'll grab some others in the hallway and talk to them. So it'll be a good meeting.
wow.
All right. Thank you.
What does that cost to go on? I'd like to go on one of those.
Speed dating or the flight?
Well, both.
The flight is
I ain't going
actually
there.
$100 round trip. It was
that
a pretty
all?
good deal.
Wow, that is a good
But it's
deal.
an hour-and-a-half subway ride
Yeah.
Well,
into town.
I'm used to
It's going
that.
to be faster to fly there than it is to get to the hotels.
True.
All right,
Watch your pockets.
Mr. LaRoche is going to fill in for Gary Duncan, who is out until next Monday, I hope. He comes back. I hope he's feeling better.
I'll try to fill in for Mr. Duncan. Good morning, Board.
You stand up. You got to be taller.
So the first slide here, one thing I want to point out on this one, if you look at 2020 total ops for April, we were at 3,700, just over 3,700. This year, at almost 13,000 total operations, most of that GA and local traffic, and you'll see in a few slides why that's important. The next slide, passenger traffic for April was a little bit lower than last year, and we attribute that to Easter being so early this year.
Yeah, if you look around the state, Sarasota just reported lower than expected. Fort Myers reported lower than expected. It's where Easter landed.
Very early this year. So, like I said earlier, with the local traffic and GA traffic having such an increase this year, that results in avgas gallons sold being almost double what it was last year off the truck. And then the next slide, self-service was also up. So self-serve gas where they can fuel their own aircraft was up quite a bit as well. Jet A gallons sold was down slightly from the previous year, about 3,000 gallons, and airline gallons pumped was pretty flat, a little bit less than last year, but again, the traffic dropped off quite a bit after Easter. So.
Yeah, you can see 1.8 million gallons in March, down to 1.3 million in April. So that's why the traffic dropped. March was a very, very busy month.
And that's it for the aviation.
All right. Thank you, Ray and Kaylee. I'm going to invite Dave up. He is the Economic Development Manager for the county. I'll let him give you a little bit of idea of what's going on in and around the airport with economic development. So Dave, take it away.
Great. Thank you, James. Nice to see you all. Thanks, Commissioner Thornberry, for even suggesting this. He suggested I come in and talk about some of the activity that's happening around the airport. You guys have so much great stuff happening. There's also a lot surrounding in what we call the ECAP, Enterprise Charlotte Airport Park. So here goes this. Let me talk a little bit about movies. I don't have a lot of talents. I've been reminded of that continually with a lot of people, but I do remember movies. So that's one of the talents I got. Some people don't think it's a talent, but it is. So let me tell you why I think it's a talent. I'm going to talk a little bit about this movie. If you all remember Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, right? Mm-hmm. There were some really good things. One of the things, they get chased by E.H. Harriman. He keep robbing his train, and he hires his posse, right? And he hires the posse to kill him and runs them out of the country. So they decide to go to Bolivia. They spend all this time traveling to Bolivia because they think it's going to be this great place where they can rob banks, that kind of stuff. They spend all that time. They get dropped off at the train station in Bolivia. This is what it looks like. They were a little upset, obviously. They thought this was going to be a happening place, and they dropped in the middle of nowhere. Why do I say that? I do a lot of speeches all over Southwest Florida. And people think they're in the middle of nowhere when I talk about Charlotte County. A lot of people didn't know when we first started going to conventions. They'd say Charlotte County, they'd think we were in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right.
And I get that in Collier, I get it from Lee County, all of the brokers down there. They said, why are we coming up to Charlotte County? Well, there's a reason. There's a lot happening. So let's go through some of the things that are happening that's so fun to see. I think one of the first things that started us being put on the map, if you will, was Cheney Brothers. When they came here in 2015, it was a big deal, and there's a reason they came to Charlotte County and said, listen, this is our distribution model, this is how it works. We can service the entire state of Florida from 3 locations. They started in Riviera Beach in the southeast. That could get their Miami market and up, Palm Beach, that area. Then they did Ocala, gets the whole middle of the peninsula, if you will. And then the only place they could do in southwest Florida, they couldn't go to Lee County and service Tampa, and they couldn't go to Sarasota and service Naples. They had to come to Charlotte County and Punta Gorda Airport. So that's why I think it's so important, and other distribution companies are now starting to notice what Cheney Brothers did. You all know FedEx, you drive by it every day when you come in here, 250,000 square foot facility, probably 400 employees, opened a year ago. Absolutely fabulous because of Cheney Brothers. ABC Supply on the north side here opened their 60,000 square foot facility and brought in a developer from Lee County that hadn't been in Charlotte County before, in Seagate Development. I want to talk a little bit about the Airport Commerce Center on the southeast corner of the ECAP area. These are the parcels over there. When Bruce Lashley did this park and Gary did it back in the early 2000s, not much activity has happened for the first 20 years it's been around, right? There was a couple of buildings out there. All the blue dots there, all the blue squares, that's what's happened in the past 2 years. All of those blue squares represent land transactions that have happened in just the past 2 years. And this time they're not just buying the land to sit on it, they're actually doing something. So all of the red on this is actually projects we're going to talk about in just a second that are happening, that are going up out there. So a lot of activity. If you haven't been to Airport Commerce Center, just amazing. Lane Valente, this is a manufacturer of EV charging stations, and they also do the backup strips that the rental car companies use. They're manufacturing that. They're doing a 42,000 square foot facility, plus they're doing a 14,000 square foot facility for her big equipment rentals, and they've also got a 21,000 square foot building they're doing on a spec basis. So a lot happening, not just talking. This is the building just a couple of days ago. Should be open this year. Vesta Air Coils. I think this is a really interesting story on Vesta Air Coils. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but this is a Danish manufacturer of marine and aviation air cooling systems. They came into the Woodlawn Industrial Plaza, which was a spec building, filled that up, so we're excited to have them here. This here is the second phase of what they are in. They occupied the remaining square footage in the 40,000 square foot first phase of the property. They're starting their second 40,000 square foot building. This is a groundbreaking we did for Ballantine Builders. This is a Fort Myers-based company that grew out of their space. They're a manufacturer of cabinetry, kitchen cabinetry and stuff like that. They've got a 65,000 square foot building that'll again be open this year. It's going really fast out there. If you haven't seen, it changes every single day. This is a groundbreaking for the King of Vape. They're building a 130,000 square foot distribution facility for the King of Vape. He's got 17 retail locations. You'll probably see them all over town. I don't know how much vape it takes for a 130,000 square foot building, but they're going full out there. We've also got a group that bought their land years and years ago, Adams Warehousing. They're going to be building a 120,000 square foot manufacturing facility for windows and doors. We've got new things happening, coastal water filters. I mean, there's just buildings popping up over and over and over out in the in the Airport Commerce Center. This is one I think is really, really interesting. This is a group called Equus. They're a national developer of industrial sites. We don't get national industrial developers in Charlotte County until now. They took a chance on a spec building, meaning they didn't have any tenants. They're built a 378,000 square foot spec building, all on the come. That's a $50 million investment in Charlotte County without a return. They were able to get their first tenant, Dakota Premium Hardwoods out of Texas, occupied 72,000 square foot. We're working with them now to fill the remaining 306,000 square feet in that building. Just across the street from that, Capital Partners. This is a group out of Wisconsin. They build primarily in Wisconsin and Minnesota. This is their second product outside of that market. They built down in Fort Myers. They said, we're going to come up here to Charlotte County. They're building a 139,000 square foot facility. That we had the groundbreaking. Chair Andrews is there in that picture. It's a good picture of you, by the way.
Thank you.
That one is going also. They're moving the dirt there. You all see that as you come in on Piper Road every day. Just announced the other day, didn't even know about this. This is an Airport Commerce Center, over 400,000 square foot spec facility. They bought the land a couple of years ago. This is right by the Woodlawn Industrial Plaza. So we'll see if that one gets going, but we just found it out. It was announced the other day. King of Eight, they like the market so much they're going to build another 130,000 square foot facility on a spec basis. They just believe in this market so much. Again, Airport Commerce Center. This is up on the north side behind the racetrack that's going up at Piper and Duncan Road. This is SHA, another national developer of industrial product, 166,000 square foot spec facility. So there is a lot happening. We still haven't forgot working with James and his team on aviation products. We've got an MRO. We're working with the team right now to see if we can get it before you all soon. And that's still one of our main focuses, as it is yours. And then on the north side of the airport, there's a 30,000 square foot facility for furniture warehousers. They're moving on that one too. So just a whole bunch of stuff that's happening. Let me summarize it really, really quick on ECAP on what we've just talked about. This is a chart of the square footage that's been built out in ECAP since the airport was created back in World War II. During our first 71 years, from 1943 to 2014, there was about 840,000 square feet of industrial product built. Then Cheney came along in 2015, built their product. We didn't have a lot of activity. In 2020, that bar there is Cheney expansion. The bar in 2021 is a big deal. It looks small. It's a 40,000 square foot building that was built by FPC. It was a spec building. We never had spec buildings in Charlotte County before, that people could come and start their businesses in a spec building. Before, when we had people come to us and they wanted to do whatever business they would, let's say it's a boat builder. They said, we want to come to Charlotte County, we want to build boats. We said, we'd love to have you in Charlotte County. Here's what you do if you want to be a boat builder in Charlotte County. You got to find a land broker and go find a piece of land. Then you got to bring in architects and engineers and designers and come up with a thing, and then go through the county and get your plans and permits. And in 2 years, if you're lucky, you can build boats in Charlotte County. We didn't get any boat builders. Never got one. With that 40,000 square foot spec building, that's how we got Vesta Aircoils. They came, they had a building they could move right into. That's why we're excited about these spec products. Yeah. If you look at 2022 and 2023, we built more spec product than we did in the first 71 years. That's how much it's growing. And over the next 3 years, we got another 1.5 million square feet planned and in various stages of construction. This is it on a cumulative basis. We had 1.2 forever. We're at 2.5 now, on our way to 4 million square feet. So it's exciting times. You guys are doing a wonderful job at the airport, and we're trying to do our best to fill you up on the other side. Thank you for the invitation, and thanks for the time.
Very good.
Thank you for the presentation. That's it's good news to see that kind of development, jobs for people in the community.
Overwhelming.
This is
Good to see you all.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's
and-
a great presentation. Thank you.
You think about Hurricane Charlie kind of kick-started the
Yeah.
industrial park to the south of us. And, you know, Bruce and his team and Gary Bain put together that with some help from the airport on some of their design things. We were able to get that in place. And it sat for a while, but it was always something that we had in our back pocket when someone came in here. You know, we work with them. If someone comes to us that wants to buy land, we send them to them. Someone goes to them that wants to lease, they send them to us. So it's worked really well, and I'm just excited to see so much construction going on. So.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
It's all good news.
Yeah.
That is all I have in my report.
Okay.
Thank you for that presentation.
Yeah, that was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good idea.
Wow.
To have.
Every now and again.
Next item, old business, we have none, so on to new business, and prior to starting, Commissioner Hansick would like to say a few comments.
Good morning, everyone. I remember last month I had a little bit of an epistle, and well, I have another one for you this month before we get into new business. Obviously, you heard all the great development that's going on, and we too, as an airport authority, have a lot of development going on. In my comments today, I'm trying to bring some things in focus so everybody's aware of what we're looking at as an individual airport authority. I'll start off by saying that Mr. Parrish and staff do an excellent job of managing the airport and grantsmanship. And there's going to be some great opportunities because I believe the AIP program has just been approved, which has a $4 billion fund for airports across the country that we can tap into, and I think we'll be successful in that based on our history. The state of Florida has money through the DOT, which we can tap into for some of these other projects. A development workshop at our request is proposed for August the 1st following our 2024 budget workshop. I had hoped we would have the opportunity before we address some of the issues, or not, they're not issues, but some of the projects on today's agenda. Put things in focus, we're about to approve a total expenditures of about $37 million, notwithstanding the funding sources and examination, understanding of the projects, you know, especially by the public, need justification and cost. Included in this amount is borrowing $15 million from the State Infrastructure Bank, which has it's a 10-year term and has a $3.5 million interest to help get the new terminal expansion going. And the estimated cost of the terminal building is pretty good guess, I guess, at $45 million, which is included if you go into the capital report that Mr. Parrish provided of things that yet to be looked at and funded is another $127 million that we're looking at in, I would say, the immediate future. We need to be aware of the debt to be incurred and the revenue sources in our assessment of the risk that we're facing, which I believe is acceptable in approvals requested today. We only net $3 to $4 million a year in profit, and we're highly dependent on depleting the reserves we have to provide our portion of the various funding we get from both the state and federal agencies. So we have to kind of watch how that occurs. And we need to be cautious in our decisions of prioritizing the capital expenditures to ensure that we're servicing not only our customers but the demands of aviation. And another comment I have is with new airport authority members taking office in November, probably two for sure, there will be a learning curve, and I suggest, and everyone is welcome, that the candidates be invited to come to those workshops to start getting them in. You know, right now, two of the candidates, well, all three of the candidates don't have anybody opposing them, so you're going to be looking at, with the exception of Kathleen and myself, you're going to be looking at a new board, and it takes a while to get up to speed on what's going on. So the sooner we can get into them, even though they won't take office until November, I think would be very helpful. And with that, I'll be quiet. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Commissioner Hansick.
That's a great report. Thank you.
So on to new business, Mr. Parrish.
The first item up is the award of the new ARF vehicle. It was put out to bid. We had two qualified bidders, Rosenbauer and Oshkosh. Rosenbauer came in at a little over $1 million. It was about $400,000 less than our cost estimate, which makes me think prices are finally getting back to somewhat reasonable. They did extend it from a 1-year production to a 550-day production time frame. So we would ask that the board approve me accepting the grant offer upon receipt and then signing the construction contract.
I move approval.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
No, sounds good.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay? None opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item.
Hangar 611, which is the replacement hangar for 207. These numbers are starting to confuse me, and I've been here a long time. So you'll recall, the existing hangar was in the way of rental car expansion, so we negotiated with the tenants to move them to a new location. They have requested that we pave instead of just driveways in front of each hangar as they had previously, the entire ramp so that they can maneuver airplanes and stay out of the way of the T-hangar tenants as they traverse around the T-hangars. We're in negotiations on how this is going to get paid for, but it's a $111,000 change order to the contractor using unit prices that were scheduled in the contract. So request the board approve the change order of $111,094.97, and we will negotiate with the tenants on their part of that, as well as some other changes they've requested that are smaller, but they'll be paying for directly.
Move approval.
Is that considered a safety issue?
No.
I'll give you the second.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
We need discussion.
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 Oh, discussion. Any further discussion? Sorry.
Just a question, did you guys meet with tenants? You know, he was here last month in relationship to the rent increase.
We did, and we that's a different tenant. But we did meet with them and showed them in their lease what the process is for moving forward, and they're working on
happy?
that. No. But
We did have the gate there as well.
yeah.
Are there lease provisions or any legal provisions guiding their tenant portion to this?
No, there are not. Those are going to have to be negotiated.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed, motion carries. Next item?
Building 97 replacement. That is the large air track hangar, which was damaged in Hurricane Charlie and rebuilt, and it had the exact same issue in the next Hurricane Ian. The doors came off, the superstructure twisted to the point where structurally the building, although standing and safe to occupy, would not make it through another hurricane. So the insurance company is paying to take it down and rebuild it. They will be relocating to a hangar across the street, which is the next item on the agenda. In the meantime, and while we tear this one down, so this is for a design consultant. We went out, we had 4. The highest scoring was Crawford Murray Tilley. If you recall, they are also on our design build team as the design consultants. So we've worked with them in the past. They put together a really nice proposal, so we'd request that the board approve us developing a scope of work and fee to bring back at a subsequent meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to authorize the staff to begin developing a contract with the highest score through the proposal effort of Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley.
Second.
I have a first and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed. Motion carries.
So while that is being designed, we have put out bids AECom design, I think AECom designed the building, and we put out bids on the street. Stellar Development, which has built the 10-unit 60 by 60, the T-hangers, the 9-unit 50 by 50, and currently building the 6-unit 60 by 60, was the low bidder. You can see the range was pretty high, from 5 million down to 2.4 million. We have met with Stellar. They're confident that they can do it at that price. And we will be watching them very closely as they work through the project. But this is the Hangar 101, which was completely destroyed in the storm, that is down now. This will include taking out the old slab, putting in a new slab. We're actually going to turn the building 90 degrees so it accesses a taxiway instead of a road, which it did before. And it'll be a much better hangar in the future. And we currently have a letter of intent to lease the building once it's completed. So we'll work on that lease and then bring that back to you. But that is probably a year and a half to 2 years from now, because we have to build the building, move the air truck into it, tear their building down, rebuild their building, move them back.
Quite a task.
So we're requesting that you authorize me to execute the contract in the amount of $2,474,742.23, or as presented.
23 cents.
Yeah, as a contractor, I never put pennies, but
Move approval as presented.
Second.
First and a second. Any further discussion?
Again,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to ask, again, Stellar just came in so significantly below the others. Was there any?
whenever that happens, and those of you who have been on the board a while will remember when we built the new section of the terminal, the contractor was $2 million lower on an $8 million project than the next one. So that always concerns us. We call them in. On any of these, we talk to the low bidder the next day to make sure they're comfortable. But on something that has this big of a variance, we call them in and talk to them. Stellar's confident this will be the 5th building they built on the airport. They're comfortable working here. And, you know, DeAngelis Diamond was $2 million low on the terminal, and they did a great job and are now the contractors on the expansion, so.
You know, wasn't this pulled at the last
This was
meeting?
not, that's another one that'll
That's-
come up.
okay.
Yes, I know.
But you have obviously sat down with Stellar to ask them.
Yeah, and you know what, our
You know, keep the eagle eye on.
Our Director of Development here in construction is a 25-year veteran in the building industry. He understands it, so he's gone through their proposal, and it can be done. They sharpen their pencil, that's for sure. If they can do this, they'll probably be building another building for us very soon.
Build half a dozen of them.
No more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Motion carries. Next item.
The next item is the one that was pulled from the last meeting. It's the replacement of the GSE building. That's a maintenance building used by the ground service handler. They were previously in a building that had never been repaired from Hurricane Charlie because we were going to tear it down and people just kept leasing it from us. It did not make it through Ian, which we would not have expected. We had to pull this one last time because of an issue that we had clerically, so we rebid it, and so we would request that the board approve a contract with EO Coke. They were the low bidders at $530,909. And this will be built on the south ramp EAA building, and it's part of the new south infrastructure that we will be developing over the next few years. We have a large tenant negotiating with us right now to put in 40,000 square feet down there, so this will fit in with that entire development.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the bid tabulation and award to E.O. Koch Construction Company.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
The infrastructure for sewage upgrades and things like that are happening now for that proposed.
So that structure has all the infrastructure in place. The total development around it will require upgrades to all that infrastructure, but there used to be a building on this site, so there's already water and sewer there.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. Next item, SIB loan.
So earlier this year, the state approached us with an offer of an SIB loan. As you recall, we had one after Hurricane Charlie. We had one for the expansion of the terminal that we're now expanding again. And we paid both of those off before they were due, and the state loves giving money to people who pay their bills. So they offered us this loan. It's $15 million at 4%. The agreement is for a 10-year period with annual payments. We're not sure we will need it all. We will probably draw it down and put it in the bank and then use it as necessary and then pay it back at the end of the construction period based on our ability to, get additional funding under the new infrastructure bill. We still have 2 more years of eligibility to get funding under that. That's where we got $10 million last month for the building. So we're, this money would just keep us from pulling out of reserves and fund our PFCs up front so that we don't have to borrow from ourselves. We're thankful that the DOT came to us, and we're grateful for the offer. I don't like to borrow money, but this is an opportunity to basically keep the money in our reserve accounts. Obviously, it's less than what we have in the reserve, so it just stabilizes the finances over the next few years.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to say I'm as allergic to debt as anybody out there, but I know and trust Mr. Parrish. We have, the low-cost model here. We are not going out and building more than what we need. We're not biting off more than we can chew. And this is going to be repaid. And at 4% interest, how much are we earning on our savings?
5%.
Yeah. So it would just be turning away basically free money to oppose this. So I'm really confident in this decision and grateful that we have this opportunity.
Yeah.
Very much in favor of paying it off early.
Me too. I will note on there was a question earlier on the resolution. Having my name would go to any other CEO, and the modifications are very small that we're allowed to do without bringing it back to the board. So it would be due dates and changes to the structure of the loan, not the loan amount or anything. So.
Sounds good.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously. Next item, Workshop, schedule a workshop.
So there's been a request to have a workshop. We looked at scheduling, and I think the best time to look at a workshop would be when we're a little bit further along with the terminal design, so there's actually something to look at more than just schematics. So we thought about August 1. We already have a workshop scheduled for that day, so we could just tack this on to the end of that one. So it's not a new thing for anyone's schedule. So if that works for everybody, I would recommend the board approve a workshop immediately following our budget workshop.
Move approval.
Second.
Is there a benefit to switching the workshop before the budget, switching the two?
The budget workshop is just going through the budget proposals. It really doesn't get into capital as much. It's operational.
Just a general question.
Yeah.
That budget workshop's at 9.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion?
I think.
Hearing
Do
none.
we have a second? I didn't-
Yeah, I second.
Okay, thanks.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously. And next item is the rental car facility.
So last but not least is our rental car facility. As you may recall, our rental car facility sits in an old hangar complex that we have built out on the inside. It's a nice facility, functions fairly well, but it was heavily damaged during the hurricane. We are limping along with it, but the building itself has to come down to minimize the disruption. We've decided to move it into the rental car ready lot, parking lot, build the new facility in a location that ultimately will attach to the terminal during the next few phases of expansion. It'll house everything that's in that current building, TSA offices, training rooms, staff offices, as well as some shipping and receiving locations, so we get some traffic off the front of the terminal. The GMP was developed by DeAngelis Diamond and AECom for 7.4, the numbers there, 7,487,756 and no cents. We are doing some VE on that, value engineering right now. They've offered some options to us, so we'll be analyzing that as we move forward, but this is the maximum price it's going to be. This will be funded with insurance funds for the majority of it. We're still negotiating with the insurance company, but we think about $6 to $6.5 million will come from them, as well as we are working with the DOT on some funding for that.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve as presented.
Second.
First and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously. And now we're up to public comments. Anyone wishing to address the board during this portion should state their name for the record. Each citizen is allowed up to 2 minutes to express their opinion. And seeing no one wants to talk this morning, we're moving on to commissioners' comments. Start with Commissioner Coppola.
Well, this has been a very interesting meeting, very productive. We're doing great. Boy, from when I started here to now, holy mackerel. This has been terrific. Thank you, James, for your excellent leadership.
Thank you, board.
Appreciate it. I'm done.
Commissioner Hanson.
I've already had my epistle for today, and thank everybody for coming. I like the crowds we get.
Yes.
It's very good. And do we have any knowledge of who actually watches us on YouTube? Is there any way of tracing that?
We don't get to see who, we get to see how many.
How many is what I was asking.
We get
Like 100.
100 views. And
Really?
I think half of them's my mom.
Probably my wife, you know. Interesting. Well, we went ahead and we spent the 37 million, which I'm happy for. I hope everyone understands my comments that we need to really pull together because there's a lot more to do. And so that's it.
Just want to say thank you to all my fellow commissioners and staff and everyone here. Thank you to Commissioner Hansick for your highlights. I agree totally on the workshop ideas and especially, again, with considering what our future holds. Commissioner Coppola, if there's something that I or any of the other commissioners can do to help fill in on anything, sounds like you have a pretty heavy lift currently and coming up, so we'd be happy to fill in wherever you might need us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good.
And Commissioner Oliver.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Commissioner Hansick. I think your comments are well taken. We have done a lot to get into a really good economic position. I think James and his team have worked so hard to get us here. But we have to continually reinvest in the airport, particularly following a disaster like Ian when we were struck so hard.
Yes.
So in order to continue this upward trajectory, we have to invest in our capital infrastructure. And so I'm very supportive of our plan.
And now it's me. I can't improve on what everybody has said, but this has been a very productive meeting, very productive. And going along with Commissioner Coppola, from Hurricane Charlie
Yeah, wow.
to
What a
now,
difference.
after,
I cried when I came on the airport when I saw the destruction. Absolutely cried.
yeah, and you know this airport, we've gone
And
through how
now-
many?
Wow.
Three hurricanes in that
Yeah.
time period? With Ian being the big one of the three, and it really is amazing. And we have a great CEO and a great staff. It's just,
Yeah.
so.
Got a good reputation in the community also. Yeah.
And again, thank you for your comments, Commissioner Hansick. Anybody, anything else to say?
I don't think
Hearing
so.
none, meeting is adjourned.
Oh, I was going to say, when are we going to fly to Iceland MacArthur Airport?
Well, Stanley and I will pitch that.
Okay. Only what, 20 years?